So what up, guys? Here to finish answering your questions. Got my new video playing in the background. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's dope. Ace there, Hulk here, General. I'm blocking him, but it's going on right now. So check that out if you haven't already checked it out. Should be top of the list. Anyways, here we go. Continuing with the questions. So here goes with your first answer. The question came from Golden Eagle 0007. My wife corrected me. I was saying 007, so I'll give you the extra 0. Anyways, this question was, what do we feed the dogs? How many times a day do we feed them? Okay, so to answer that question, can't touch on it specifically because we're in the middle of a little bit of actions with dog food companies to acquire sponsorships. So I don't want to say one thing and offend the other one right now, so I'm not going to go there. But I can tell you a couple brands of food that we do use that we would stand behind. We basically only use brands of dog food that have been around for 50 plus years for the most part. I'm not too into these new brands popping up all over the place. They seem like they come up every other week. But anyways, dog food brands that we use consist of Pedigree, Purina, Blue Seal, Retriever, and Canidae, and those are pretty much the dry goods that we'll use, those companies. I won't say specifically one, but I'll say I use all of them. We also have a sponsorship with Singleton's Meat in Vermont, so be sure to check them out. If you haven't been down there, anytime you're in Vermont, go check out Singleton's Meat Store. It is awesome. Best smoked meat you're gonna find. Go check that out. So anyways, the last part of the question is, how many times a day do the dogs eat? The puppies eat 3 times a day, smaller portions, and the larger dogs will eat once a day, and they eat in the middle of the night because the dogs here are very active, and we feed them in the middle of the night to avoid what's called bloat, which is when their stomach twists, and it's very painful and dogs can die from it very quick. But it generally comes a lot from larger dogs that are active after they've drank a lot of water or ate a lot of food during the day. So to avoid that, we feed the dogs in the middle of the night. So hope that answers your question. Thanks for participating. Hella Flush 070. Your question was my top 3 breeds of dogs that I'd like to own eventually. I can own any breed of dog that I want right now. Just putting that out there, not trying to be a jerk, just saying. So my top 3 breeds of dogs. Okay, obviously I think you guys know number 1. What do we even need to ask that? Look at one of them's behind me right now. Probably my second favorite breed of dog is probably maybe even a dog a lot of people haven't seen, but I really like Dutch Shepherds a lot. It's kind of a little bigger than a Belgian Malinois, just a little more rugged. I always enjoy watching them in KMPV. I think they're some of the greatest dogs to have been created. Very good working dogs, very strong dogs, solid all around. I like them. I like them. We deal with some of them, not enough, but I'm going to be changing that. My number 3 might be a little bit random to some people, but I mean, are we talking about like favorite to my heart or favorite to my job? Because they're kind of 2 different answers. But I like Dobermans. You know, it's probably my 3rd favorite breed. Is I like Dobermans. They're a little more fragile, I think, for the work and stuff that I do. I mean, I've worked with some of them. They do great protection work. They are, you know, a highly sought after guard dog, or they used to be, not so much anymore. But to me, they're a little bit slender for the job that I do. But just to own a dog, I think they're beautiful, and I like them, and I have owned one. So I guess all these dogs that I've talked about as my favorites that I like to own, I've owned them all. So that's a good thing. Thank you for your question. I hope that that answers your question. I hope I answered it the way that you wanted me to. Question from Asim Yaya. Excuse me if I don't pronounce all the names right, but I'm gonna do my best. There's a lot of names on there. How would you train a 3-year-old doggo? Well, this is kind of a quick kind of question and answer type thing, so that's kind of a little bit broader of a question. And Advice from my lawyer. I don't really give advice on protection training right now, so I won't actually tell you how we do this kind of stuff right now. It's just not something that I can do. When the DVD does come out, though, the end of the DVD series is going to start getting into some of the protection stuff once all the legalities of it are kind of stamped out. But in terms of answering your question a little further, you can contact me via email, darkdynastycanines@yahoo.com, and I can give you a little bit of pointers in a certain direction. But that's about it. I can't really answer that question directly. I apologize for that, but stay tuned for the DVDs and you can get those answers. And check out Ace behind me. He's strong. Check him out. Look at that guy. Look at that guy right there. Alright. Thank you for your question. Okay, so Cheesy the Gamer. His question was, how can I get into personal protection and where do I start? Well, like I said in an earlier question, personal protection and what I say and this and that is kind of a touchy subject according to the attorneys. So I at this point I really can't say too much, but where can you go? I mean, you know, first of all, I will say this is a hard business to survive in. It's very challenging, and there's very few people that actually know what's going on. But if you put the time into it, it takes years. You know, I mean, you start with a dog, owning a dog, and research online, and you know, starting to watch videos and looking at them in a different way, and starting to notice different things, and starting to speak the language. You know, those are the ways that you're really going to want to start to get into this as a career. But it is very challenging, and it takes a long time to get to this level. Of course, anything is possible, and I came from a long way to be right here, sitting where I'm sitting right now, but it does take a lot of hard work. I can't sit here and say that it was quick or anything happened fast. So be ready to put in a lot of work, but anything is possible. And we will have a DVD coming out, so you can get some info there on our basic training methods at first. And the first 3 series are basically going to be pretty basic, and then from there it's going to step into the protection world a little bit once we get the A-OK from the attorneys. So appreciate your question. Hope that answers it in the way that you wanted to, and thanks for participating. Okay, Aaron Fridley. Again, sorry if I'm not pronouncing names right. I'm doing my best. His question was, how old is the General? Well, the General was born on a lovely October day on the 12th in 2008. So that would make him almost 6 years old. Bless that man's heart. He has built this. That's why his face is right there. He has built this from the ground up, along with all the wonderful people that work here. But General is going on 6 this year. Man, 6, dude. You're going on 6, bro. He looks good too. He's a handsome guy. Thanks for your question. Thanks for participating. Okay, who is that man? Y'all are tricky with your questions because they're not really one question. They're like 3 questions in one. I got you guys, though. I got you. I love you guys, so I'm going to keep going with this. But y'all are tricky. What's his name?
Jerome Deal.
Jerome Deal. You tricky, my man. What's his question?
When it comes to breeding, what's more important, the male or the female? Of course, you would want them each to complement each other's pedigree.
Yeah, of course is where it continues. All right. So let me answer the first part. It kind of really depends on who you're talking to, because breeding is very much so by preference. So it really is going to depend on that person's experience. With my experience, like let's say take for example a dog like the General. When he breeds with something, I know without a shadow of a doubt I'm gonna get more of his characteristics than I am gonna get of the other dog, whether it be female that I bred or female that somebody else bred. He just is a dominant dog when he breeds with anything, so far that I've seen. Now, to say there's not a female out there that could stamp more of her traits on the litter, you know, it could be possible. Though they do say, you know, genetically a male does throw a little more characteristics into the litter, which is the same thing with human babies, so I'm told as well. The male makes up the majority of what is, if not, I think, all, correct? All? Anyways, oh yeah, wow, we talking about breeding. There's breeding going on behind me. Ace and Leia, puppies on the way this month. Anyways, like I said, in humans, it's the same way. So genetically, or by technical term, I guess you could say the male, but it's all going to depend on really who you're talking to. So, I mean, that's really the best that I can answer that question for you, because it all really depends. Okay, so Nathan Staggs asked, what is our training method? That's kind of a broad question, so I'll try to break it down. I mean, our training methods really are, our philosophy is, you know, be like water, adaptation. You know, so there's really no specific training method. It's what works for this dog. You know, that's basically the method and the philosophy of DD Canine is adaptation. You know, be like water, you can fit into any situation. Not one dog is going to be the same as the other dog, so you can't really use one method on every dog. I've never believed that works. So I guess my training method would be adaptation, and our main training style would be personal protection, i.e. what we like to call street dogs.